a passionate instigator and dynamic problem solver. Dr. Kevin Ross Emery, the host of the Dr. Kevin Radio Show, will be taking you outside the box, behind the curtain, and identifying the load of BS we are fed every day. And now, Dr. Kevin.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Dr. Kevin Show here on OMTimes, where we're changing it, one Om at a time. Well, changing it means changing the world. Sorry, we're changing the world one Om at a time. You know, you'd think after all the years of me saying this, I'd get it right at this point, but what are you going to do? So, welcome to the Dr. Kevin Show. This is our Planetary Influences Week. This is the time when we call upon our astrologer, Rob Stewart from innercenter.org, and our co-hostess with the mostest, Lori Powers-Otto, to take a peek into the skies, to spy for us, and tell us what merriment and fun the planets have for us over the next 4 weeks. We know that it's always a time, a good time, a bad time, an in-between time, but it's always some time. So that's what this week's show is about. If you would like to be part of this conversation, if you'd like to ask us questions, if you'd like to let us know that you're listening, alive, breathing, I don't know, call 202-570-7057. That's 202-570-7057. And we're happy to take your questions, comments, as long as they are respectful. All we ask is that they are respectful. Outside of that, feel free to call in. Again, that number is 202-570-7057, and we would love to hear from you. So now I'm going to see how my partners in crime are doing. Hey, Mo. Hey, Curly. Are you guys there?
Hey, Dr. Kevin. How's it going?
Okay, so we'll start with Curly. Curly, are you there?
Which one of us is Curly?
I figured you guys would figure it out.
I'll leave it up to you, Lori. It's over my head. I don't know.
Boy,
pretty good.
Okay. So,
how's Dr. Kevin? You doing good?
Hey, I'm just doing fabulous. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to find out what mayhem and mischief the stars have for us coming up. And it's always fun hanging out with you guys because you're just so easy to pick on. I mean, you're so much fun to have with. So, Miss Lori, I will make it easy. How are you, and what exciting things have happened in your week this week?
This week, let's see. I am doing wonderful. And I know a lot of people won't think this is a big deal, but I got new glasses, and I think they rock the world. I am so excited about them. The company is ecologically responsible. They're called Zen. I mean, come on. It's awesome. But this week has been dedicated to preparing for Sunday's big event, the Web of Light Speaker Series, where I will be speaking at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Tell us more about that. I don't think I've heard about this event. Tell me more.
It is an amazing event, and even though I'm part of it, it really is an amazing event because I watched it last time. I was not a member, and I am so excited. All of the topics, there's 5, are heart related, and my topic is loving Mother Earth to health. And yes, it can be done. So that's my big focus this week, is getting ready for that.
Well, that sounds exciting.
It is. Everybody should join us.
So the event is called You Gotta Have Heart. You gotta have heart, miles and miles and miles of heart. It starts at 11:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to be doing an opening ceremony, introducing our speakers, and then I will be speaking first at noon on Getting Your Heart's Desire, and we're going to have 4 other presenters, including Lori, Wendy Darling, as Track Love Now, Raina Wilson, is going to be doing a healing, journeying meditation about how to integrate your heart energy throughout your whole body and all of your bodies into one, and that's going to be a fabulous guided journey. And we have Donna Bass, who is going to be talking about having a healthy heart on a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual level. And primarily more physical, I think, in her particular presentation, because she is both got degrees in neuroscience as well as being a healer, and is a certified herbalist. So she's going to have tons of information for you, just tons and tons. Bring a wagon to load it all into. Again, that's at 11:45 a.m. on Sunday. You can go to weboflightexpo.com if you'd like to get a ticket. I've done something different, Miss Lori, and we will get to you and Rob in a minute. You have not been forgotten, which is, I originally started these because we were in lockdown. I had to forego doing a physical expo, which I've been doing for a few years, which you attended, which Rob has attended some of my expos. And of course, physical expos weren't going to happen in the time of quarantine. And so I decided to do this online event to be able to give the speakers a megaphone and give the seekers a place to go where I knew they would get good and high quality information. Since I originally created this, and I wanted to support both people in the community like you and Wendy and Donna, to get your message out and connect with a larger crowd. And obviously, I also wanted to give people that were stuck at home an opportunity. So originally, we were going to do a whole bunch of these. We were going to do, I was going to do one every other month for all of 2021. But what has happened, Lori, is that we've had so much stuff that's been available on Zoom and gutted in the market and going in so many different directions that there is a plethora of stuff going on. And so this is actually going to be the last one we do this year. Because, originally I was all about, because I had a fabulous 2020 from a perspective of, I helped lots and lots of people. It was the busiest year I think I've ever had in my practice. I was doing, as we talked on the radio show before, sometimes over 40 hours of actual clients a week, which was just crazy, but people were in such need. And I just, I gave all I had to give. And, to try to help people get through 2020. And so I kind of wanted to share that. And so, I brought these speakers in and I created this event to not only get it out, but to share the abundance and wealth. And now there's so many things out. And originally these tickets people were going to pay for these tickets, and this would help me underwrite the cost of the speakers because I'm paying the speakers because I want the speakers to be paid because they deserve to be paid. They're bringing good quality stuff in the world. And everybody's business is on so many levels shut down. But there's so much glutted free stuff out there by everybody now that people actually don't want to support a lot of the independent practitioners that for some of them, this is the only way that they were going to be bringing in money while they were waiting for lockdown to be over. I understand that choice, and I understand that everybody had a lot of decisions they need to make, but I am just giving this one away. We did not have great ticket sales because there were just so many free events. I mean, you can't compete with Hayes House when they have a 7-day event for less than what we charge for a 1-day event because they're trying to promote all of their high-level speakers and book sales and stuff, and I get it. I get that the world works around this way, but I know that there is plenty out there. People are giving it away left and right. I'm happy seekers have something to do, and I'm thrilled that you're going to be part of my last Web of Light Expo speaker series for 2021. Whether I revamp and do something different in the future, I don't know, but I'm looking forward to Sunday, and we're just giving it away. I don't care. We're just giving it away. I just want people to come and hear how fabulous Lori is. I want people to benefit from all the knowledge that Donna has. I want them to be able to learn from Wendy how to attract love now in all areas of their life. I want them to have a profound experience with Raina Wilson taking you through that journey. I want them to come and feel touched and moved and motivated and going out into the world. And at this point, I'm doing it, and I'm just giving all the tickets away. So if you go to weboflightexpo.com, you can sign up. You can attend for free. I just want people to get the information, and then we're just going to close these doors. So what do you think of all that?
I think that sounds reasonable. And you're right, because I am constantly getting emails and invitations to free events. Every day I get several. And so people do have to choose. And if someone can go somewhere free, they're going to do that before spending any money, even though in my experience, people don't always value things they get for free, which they should, because they're gifts. But I think this is a reasonable decision on your part, and I think your generosity about giving these tickets away free and paying your speakers is way above and beyond anybody else.
Hey, the universe has been good to me, and I am thrilled that I can share the abundance. So that being said, Rob, tell us how you have been. Blow us away with the exciting news of everything that's going on in your life. Should I sit down so I don't fall down?
Yeah, no, I'm doing good. I'm happy that the daylight savings kicked in last Sunday. It's been nice to have longer daylight during the day. That's been great. And just regarding that event, it sounds like a really wonderful event with obviously both you guys and Raina. I think she's at 2 p.m. I guess on Sunday. And yeah, it just sounds like a great event, and people should check it out.
Yeah, yep. Because you know Lori, you know me, you know Raina. So, and if you're hanging around with some time on your hands, you should show up and enjoy as little or as much as you want.
Yeah, I've been on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mr. Rob, are you ready to awe us with your brilliance and insight of what's going on in the nighttime skies and the daytime skies and the dusky skies and the dawny skies? I don't care.
And all the skies. That's right. Yeah. Well, so it's the astrological New Year. The calendar New Year is, of course, celebrated on January 1st, but in the astrological realm, the New Year is on the spring equinox, which is this year it's on March 20th. And, so the spring equinox is when daylight and nighttime is equal throughout the day, 12 hours of each. And it marks the first day of spring. Days get longer and longer, taking up more than half of the day, beginning on the spring equinox. So, so the sun is moving into Aries on the spring equinox on March 20th. And, the sun in astrology, oftentimes we think we're the sun, my sun is in Scorpio, but really the sun is about the path the route in life that we can take to really develop a healthy sense of self. It's the path that helps us feel more complete and more fulfilled in our life. And so as the sun is traversing through these different zodiac signs, we get to walk that path of, it was just in Pisces. Pisces is about surrender, letting go, completion, and merging with the cosmos. That's sort of the path of Pisces. And now that sun is entering Aries, it brings new life. It brings the beginning of new bold action, new courage. Aries teaches to trust your impulse, and it's about being daring, it's about being adventurous, and there's even sort of a healthy bit of selfishness when the sun is in Aries. You know, it's a type of thing of like, well, this is my life, and I choose to do what's right for me. You know, that's sort of in a healthy way, of course. There's ways you can do that in unhealthy ways, but there's something about finding that healthy self-assertiveness during the Aries season. And so we're really supported in taking courageous action for what is best for oneself here and now, and sort of living in the present moment. So Aries is a cardinal sign. It's about starting things, moving on a new project. It's about being bold. It's about being quick, being instinctive, fiery, assertive. The shadow side of Aries is that it can be a bit aggressive. It can be a bit combative at times, sort of like an uncontrolled burn. You know, that's the thing. Fire is a tremendous resource. It's a tremendous element, I guess you'd say. And but the shadow side is like, well, gosh, if it's uncontrolled, you can really there's some harm with too much fire, of course. Just like if there's too much anything, water, air, earth, they all have their drawbacks. But you know, Aries really asks for courage. It sort of forces us to work through stress in our life, and it really demands that we trust our instinct and trust our this present moment and what we're being called to do in those present moments. It's really about giving birth to something, but with that birthing comes the anxiety of this sort of separation from the womb type of energy. So this is all a big part of Aries. But Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars is in Gemini. It entered Gemini in early March. And so while the sun is in Aries, we also get to work with this sort of Mars and Gemini energy as well. And Mars in Gemini is multitasking. It can be a bit scattered. It can be a bit unfocused. Mars in Gemini is easily bored. It's very talkative. And there's some nervous energy with Mars in Aries as well. So that's something to be aware of, and to find healthy outlets for any nervous energy that arises. It's also with Mars in Gemini, and of course Sun in Aries, be mindful of debates that spin out of control, that type of energy, the type of thing of where words, Gemini, can be used as weapons, Mars type of thing. So in the month ahead, there really are opportunities for healthy breakthroughs in conversation, but also there's opportunities for fiery debate and arguments. And so just like with anything in life, we have the opportunity to choose which way to go with those energies. So it's a good thing to be mindful about. And it's also good to be mindful about not taking up too many projects. With Mars in Gemini, you can really spread yourself thin. And so focusing your energy on the task or two at hand can be really helpful during this time. And you know, one of the big themes for this month ahead, the next 30 days, is related to Mars in Gemini squaring Neptune in Pisces. And so this square will be forming from March 26th until April 25th. The exact square, I believe, is on April 9th. But this theme is really playing out for this whole next 30 days. And with Mars squaring Neptune, there's something about, there can be sometimes a lack of confidence, sometimes sort of a difficulty taking decisive action, things like that, like procrastination, a scattered focus, things of that nature. It's also the type of energy where one can have a bit of self-righteousness, or, you know, some really big ideas but also the possibility for some big delusion also. So there's a big range in which these energies can show up. One might feel lacking confidence, or someone might be feeling a bit grandiose, and maybe even some delusional things with the actions that they choose to take in life. So to be aware of perhaps any misguided spiritual aspirations or ego trips that present themselves this next 30 days. And let's see, I know we're coming up to commercial break here soon, so I don't want to, I don't know when you want to sneak that in, but
commercial break I'll let you know when the music starts gearing up. But one of the things and there it goes, and we're off. We'll be right back with Planetary Influences with Rob Stewart from InnerCenter.org and Reverend Lori Powers-Otto right here on the Dr. Kevin Show.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Coping-19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
If you're feeling increasingly lonely right now, you're not alone. It's totally normal. Even though we may not be able to get together in person, connecting virtually with friends and family still gives you a chance to interact with people and may help raise your spirits. Join a virtual book club, set up group text chats, or online video coffee breaks with coworkers.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Dr. Kevin Show here on OMTimes. This week we're doing Planetary Influences with our pet astrologer. I don't know if that came out right. Rob Stewart from InnerCenter.org, and our other married band member is Reverend Lori Powers-Otto, and we're finding out what's going on in the nighttime, well, in all the skies. I think we're disguising the skies. Deskying. I don't know. Go with it here. Just roll. Just roll, guys. Just roll. I've had too much coffee. Anyway, so, Rob, you said that Aries was that place of hyperactivity, which I have none of, so I must not have Aries in my chart at all. That must be an empty house. I'm just way too calm to have any Aries energy in me. But it is about being true to yourself. I mean, that's exactly how you said it. How did you say that again? It's about being true to who you are.
Yeah, I mean, there's something about Aries that it's sort of, you know, the birthing process, that you're sort of stepping into your individuality in a healthy way, of course. But with that comes some of the stress of being separated from the womb. But yeah, about following your impulses, following your instincts in a healthy way. The healthy instincts, of course. We get a lot of instincts some healthy, some less than healthy. But
so what does someone like me who doesn't have an impulsive bone in his body do? Anyway, so let's move on. What else is going on in the skies?
Right.
Oh.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to see if Lori had anything she wanted to chime in with.
Oh, no, I'm just, you're definitely not impulsive.
You're supposed to put yourself on mute before you laugh.
And I actually do have a question that I think a lot of people are wondering. Why does the calendar year start on January 1st, but the astrological year starts on the spring equinox? Why the difference? Does anybody know?
It's a really good question. I mean, so the reason that astrological New Year starts on the spring equinox is simply because of the natural movement of the sun and the onset of spring. Why the calendar year begins on January 1st? I actually was planning on looking into that, but I don't have that with me. I don't know if Dr. Kevin, if you have any insight on that.
I don't know, because some idiot was in charge and wanted to stick it to the pagans, probably. My best guess.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
Yeah. I would see the way I see it is that the astrological New Year is really sort of nature's New Year, whereas the calendar year is sort of a woman-made calendar, probably a man-made calendar. But a human calendar.
Yeah, don't blame the poor women. The patriarchy definitely did it. Women wouldn't be that stupid. Go ahead.
Right.
Amen.
One of the big themes for this month is Mars and Gemini squaring Neptune and Pisces. And Mars and Gemini is what brings a lot of that scattered energy that we spoke of. But Mars is also conjunct the transiting north node, this sort of point in the sky that represents the future, aligning with our goals and moving forward in life in a healthy way. And so there's something about, with Mars conjunct that point in the sky here over the next month, there's something about aligning with your purpose, your what feels right for you. And it's in Gemini, so it's about looking at the facts. It's about looking at the data, seeing what is here and now, rather than in belief, which is about Sagittarius, which is on the south node. So there's something about, we're all being asked to be looking at the details, looking at the subtleties, and really focusing on awareness and allowing information to come to us rather than going to belief. But with Mars squaring Neptune, there really is a possibility of delusionment, and through delusionment, we, in the long game, I guess it could be said that delusionment is helpful so that we learn what doesn't work. We find where we're confused in the way in our own personal lives and things like that. So while Neptune is sort of challenging at times astrologically, because we can fool ourselves, or we can think it's this way and it's another way, or it shows up in a lot of different ways in our daily life. But through that, we grow, we learn, we evolve through our misperceptions and our, that's unique to each of us in our own daily life each and every day.
But Rob, I want to ask a question here, and perhaps I'm not hearing this clearly, but if this is about us evolving through our delusions and our incorrect perceptions, if this is about us becoming wiser or better humans or kinder, but that's only if we actually let the delusions go, because, I mean, I think we need to change the name of, we're like, the age of Aquarius to we're in the age of Neptune, because perception and delusion is really at an all-time high. And I see lots of people not breaking through it. I mean, should we be suing Neptune? Is Neptune not doing its job? Like, what's the story? Because we seem to have mass cult hypnosis hysteria in this country of idiots that aren't like breaking through the delusion at all. So is any of this aspect playing through that? And do we need to like fire Neptune and find a replacement for him?
Well, Neptune's there to stay, obviously, but there's something, ideally it's through the clouds we help realize the clouds aren't helpful. That's sort of life, right? I mean, I think we can all look back to points in time where we were having some perception that may not have been helpful or is fully helpful for our life evolution that we wanted it to be. But it's through learning what doesn't work that we learn what does work. And so, yes, it's difficult living with, different illusions in our own lives or in collective lives or whatever it is. But my perspective of that is that simply at the higher perspective, it's that through those false paths, we find that, we come across a truer path for each one of us, of course. And, with the North Node in Gemini, which it's been there for quite a long time, it's about looking at the details. It's about looking at the data. It's about putting aside belief and looking at the world from a beginner's mind, really taking it, being open to data that might go against our beliefs in certain ways. So there's different ways this shows up, but we're all sort of being asked to really look at the fine details, I guess you'd say, of life. So yeah, I don't know. Does that answer your question, Dr. Kevin?
There's nothing we can do with the idiots that don't want to see the truth. Go ahead, keep going.
That's right. Yeah, I suppose that's what that means. I mean, so on March 21st, Venus enters Aries. Venus is femininity, the sort of the energies of femininity. It's what we look for in relationship. It's the things that we value. It's how we relate to one another in relationship. And Venus in Aries is very enthusiastic. It's a go-getter. It's a very passionate time in relationship, but also, in whether it's romantic relationship or friendship, in terms of discussion, things of that matter. But there's a lot of charisma, there's a lot of courage and romance with Venus and Aries. It's a type of thing of like love at first sight type of energy with Venus and Aries, so be aware of that. It's impulsive and bold. And just be aware on March 24th, which is next week, basically from March 24th until the end of the month, Mercury in Pisces will be squaring Mars in Gemini. So there's real possibilities of some arguments in relationship, whether it's friendship or in partnership. Be aware of any rash and heated words, or pointed sarcasm or sharp opinions, those types of things. There's a possibility for some fiery exchange of information, I guess you'd say. But the good news is that on March 26th, the Sun will be directly conjunct Venus. So there's some real harmony and peacekeeping energies throughout all this as well. So if there are any arguments that are arising, with all this energy in Aries that we're moving into starting this weekend, with Venus conjunct the Sun, there's some real harmonious energy there too. That's sort of a resource.
So it sounds like you're going to have me and Lori at the same party. I'm going to ruffle feathers, and she's going to calm them down. Is that about right?
Yeah,
Does that work for you, Lori?
That sounds about right.
Yep.
I knew that was going to happen. Go ahead. Keep going.
All right. So on March 28th, there's a full moon in Libra. And, full moons, it's a time of fruition and harvest for what we began 6 months ago. They work on 6-month cycles. So back in mid-September, there was a sort of a beginning in the area of Libra. So that was area of relationship or finding balance, finding harmony, finding that type of energy. And with the full moon on March 28th, there's some sort of completion, some sort of surrender, some ending and new beginning that occurs. And so, in Libra, there's something about letting go of something in the way that you relate to people in a certain way. That's just no longer needed. And, with Mars conjunct the North Node again, there's something about aligning your direction in life that's more harmonious, that's more balanced with other people's perceptions and things of that nature. So there's this sort of energy of finding balance, finding energetic balance with people, despite, if they're living in delusion or whatever it is. And let's see. Just looking at my notes here. So April 4th, Mercury enters Aries. So again, a lot of Aries energy, a lot of new beginnings, a lot of new life entering with this astrological new year. And it could be new initiations in communication, new ways of writing, maybe new teaching projects, or maybe even learning new things. And communication with Mercury and Aries can be impulsive, it can be frank. So again, just be mindful of sharp sarcasm or a sharp tongue or things of that nature. But it really is a time to have courage with your ideas and in debates, having the courage and working through the stress that arises through having that courage to speak your mind in healthy ways. And again, our Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars is in Gemini, which is squaring Neptune. So it's possible that in any heated debates and that arise, there can be delusion on both sides. There can be self-righteousness on both sides, maybe even a lack of confidence in both sides with Mars squaring Neptune. So it can show up in many ways. With Mars squaring Neptune, one can be really sort of daydreamy and just sort of lost in daydreams and not focused with the task at hand, whether that's communicating with others, things of that nature. There's a lot of competing energies. There's very assertive energy, but there's also this sort of scatteredness as well. So, focusing your attention on a small number of things can be really helpful in working with this energy. April 9th, Mars is... So there's the music, we're gonna go to break. I wanna make a comment on that scatter focus thing when we get back, and then we will finish up planetary influences on our last segment of the Dr. Kevin Show here on OMTimes.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Vox Novus, the new voice. Vox Novus, the new dimension. Vox Novus, thought and movement leaders who will share from their experience and offer tools to help us navigate our rapidly changing world. My name is Victor Furman. Join me every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio for Vox Novus, the new voice.
If I could be you.
And you could be me for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
to get inside
each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Dr. Kevin Show here on OMTimes. This week we're on planetary influences, where we're talking about the time of Aries with our astrologer, Rob Stewart from innercenter.org, and with Lori Powers-Otto. And, you know, you talked, Rob, about a lot of things sending conflicting energy in this last week of March, so to speak. It was around the 24th, 25th, 26th there that we had these kind of conflicting aspects. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I mean, it is a fair statement, and it's really sort of for the next 30 days, this sort of scattered energy plus the cloudiness and assertion all mixed together.
Okay. So there's a couple of things, because, you know, one of the reasons that I originally created Planetary Influences, which I've been doing on and off, I've always tried to have some version of this segment on my show, even when it was a daily show for 15 years now, was to give people more information with which to make better decisions. And how does this apply in their life? And how can they use astrology as an underpinning of a guidance system? Not a decision-making system, but a guidance system. And sometimes we do a lot of the astrology, but we don't always do the application. And that's kind of on me. That's not on you. You're here to bring the information, and then we should be discussing the application. In this case, these are the times when Rob is talking about these things where it would be really beneficial to know and understand your chart better. The more you know and understand your chart, the more you can apply. I know that Rob recently did some special offering about an astrology reading through some of his promotional stuff through Facebook and other things. But, you know, when you look at these conflicting energies, if you have certain planets that have more energy in your chart, you're going to be more likely to be drawn to those kinds of the energies versus planets that may not be so loud in your chart or may not trigger or get more support or help from your chart. It depends on the language you want to use. So for those of you who tune in regularly to Planetary Influences, but are still trying to figure out what does that mean to me, this is a wonderful opportunity to reach out to Rob and say, you know, maybe I want to get my chart done. And then when you say, you can kind of guide me of, well, you know, because I'm this aspect, you can kind of start to put more of the pieces together. And with things like conflicting aspects, we will also be able to feed, when we recognize and listen to the things Rob are saying, we're going to be able to take those things. We're going to be able to then say, which do I choose to focus on? Because what I choose to focus on is going to get more energy than what I say, okay, I see you're there, but I don't have to go there. I recognize you're standing there, you know, dangling the opportunity for me to have a sharp tongue. Doesn't mean I have to have one. And so again, this is all about having more information with which to make better decisions. So in a time over 30 days where there's going to be a lot of conflict, to want to be spacey, warm, and fuzzy, and at the same time be didactic and sharp-tongued, you can chart a course in the middle. This does not decide what you do. It's just going to tell you the energies you need to be aware of. Would you say those are all fair statements, Rob?
Yeah, no, that's right on.
Good. So, Lori, is there anything you'd like to add for that before Rob picks up the astrological lance and skews it with us again?
Well, I just wanted to thank you for putting that out there, because I do agree. People need to understand how it affects them personally. And thanks to you, Rob was able to do a chart for me, which has never been able to be done before. He explained everything to me magnificently, and I'm grateful to you both. I highly recommend everybody in the world get their chart done with Rob and get a cartology reading from him. Also magnificent. But yeah, it's about choice, and like you said, if you know you can focus on A or you can focus on B, which one is right for you is the way you should go, and just let the other one be. So thank you both.
Yeah, thanks, Lori, for that. I really appreciate it and loved reading your chart. And but you're right. This energy. There's something about there's going to be scattered energies, and the opportunity for scattered energies, and it's over this next 30 days. And there's something about focusing your energy on the tasks, keeping yourself on task, and just taking it one step at a time and trusting your instincts and being courageous and following those instincts. And so, that the way of navigating this is simply focusing your attention. Maybe there's some daydreamy sort of energy available at different times over the next 30 days, but just staying on task and being courageous in whatever way that you are communicating or expressing yourself and things like that.
Okay, let's move forward. What else do we need to cover in this last segment about what's going on in the astrological universe that will be inviting us to play with it?
Yeah, all right. So on April 12th, we have a new moon in Aries. And this is, it's a really interesting one. It's making a sextile, which is 60 degrees angle to Mars in Gemini, which is a really positive aspect. Just a really harmonious aspect, and also sextile to Jupiter and Aquarius, but it's squaring Pluto and Capricorn. And so there's something about like starting new bold projects, new paths, taking action on your ideas. Again, this is April 12th. There's something about some tremendous new beginning, and it's with a square to Pluto, there might be some new emotional intensity with whatever this new beginning is, whatever this sort of courageous new venture, that sort of energy supporting new ventures, and to work through any emotional intensity that it brings up. But there's sort of this sort of opportunity for a rebirth and transformation with Pluto there involved. And, it's a type of thing that new ideas might be met a little bit with friction from authority or from limitation or restriction type of thing. It's like pushing through and starting that new thing, but in a wise way, in a mature way, and in a way that is building towards long-term goals, making that square with Pluto and Capricorn. So it's a type of, birthing project, this new beginning in April 12th, that is worth the journey. It's sort of the beginning of a new empowerment journey for each of us in the way that it falls in our chart, but also just taking courageous action in your life and taking empowered, healthy choices in your life. And let's see, so that's on the 12th. And then April 14th, we have Venus entering Taurus. And so this is a really nice energy with Venus and Taurus. It's very feminine energy, sort of emotional stability, sensuality, prosperity, material security. So wherever Taurus shows up in your chart, this is a really positive and sort of abundant period of time for wherever Taurus is in your birth chart, what house it falls into. And so it's just a really grounded energy. There's sort of an indulgent energy, luxury, and pleasure seeking. But just be aware of sort of any over attachment to material things or relationship or things of that nature. Like, maybe there could be a tendency for overeating or indulging in an unhealthy food or something during that period of time. So those are things just to be aware of. And later in April, we'll have a stellium of 4 planets, I believe it's 4 planets in Taurus. So April, towards the end of April into May, there's a really grounded energy and a sense of calm, a sense of stability in the astrology that's really, really supportive. And let's see. And then so also April 16th and 17th is a day that there's some real, just a day where there might be some, again, we're talking about this sort of rebirthing process and having courage in life and taking those actions that are supportive for you and with healthy, empowered decisions. And April 16th and 17th, the Sun and Mercury are squaring Pluto, while the Sun is sextile Mars and Mercury sextile Mars. There's a bunch of aspects that are supportive, but suggesting some real friction through coming up against limitation and dealing with authority or dealing with some restriction in some type of way that signifies some birthing process that's worth the journey, sort of supporting courage and assertiveness and being mature about your path. So that's just a day. Maybe it's not a good day to schedule that meeting with the boss. There might be some friction there. It's just sort of, there might be some, there's both good and bad, I guess you'd say. I don't like using those words, but it's just a powerful transformative time. And there might be some power struggles with regard to authority, with regard to limitation. And the universe is sort of asking, okay, how do you move through that? What choices are you making? How are you going to work through rebirthing yourself and taking courageous action in your life? So, yeah.
And how... Mm-hmm. Is that it? I mean, is that... Yeah. I didn't want to interrupt you. I didn't know if...
No, you're not. Yeah. No, that's it. That's it.
Lori, what are your thoughts? What courageous action are you going to take in the universe? The time is coming. The universe is knocking at your door, and it's going, Miss Lori, courageous action is now needed.
Oh, no. There will be several courageous acts coming up. None I could probably say on. Hopefully, I know I keep saying this, but hopefully my new book will be out in the next couple of weeks by the end of the month, hopefully, at the latest. And, I'm just going to try to be mindful of my actions and my responses the whole night. Always, but particularly the next month.
Rob, what courageous actions do you foresee are coming up, and how are you going to take them?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. No, I'm starting a bunch of small projects on the side, and I'm excited to take sort of New Year approach with these different various projects, and it takes courage and finding the right way to go about those different projects. So, I'm excited. This sort of the new energy that's presenting itself here on this new astrological year.
Sounds good. It sounds like both of you have some things that you're not quite ready to share with the world, though you would be welcome to do so. We don't object to anything that might sound like self-promotion here on the Dr. Kevin Show. God knows I do it. But we look forward to your new book coming out, Lori, and to maybe hear more at some point at some of these projects or new things that you are bringing into your reality, Mr. Rob.
Yeah,
what's the name of the new book? Can you share that yet?
The working title is It's the Little Things, 200 plus ways to save money.
Okay.
A lot of people are struggling right now, so I was guided to create this. So I did.
Awesome. Well, Rob, next month we look forward to hearing more about your projects. Next week, Lori is going to be hosting without me, and she's going to be interviewing Wendy Darling. Wendy Darling, who has a new book out, and we're going to hear all about it. Wendy will be speaking this Sunday. So come to the Web of Light Expo Speaker Series, listen to Lori, listen to Wendy, and then tune in next week here on OMTimes. Well, Lori does a one-on-one interview with our guest, Wendy Darling, right here on OMTimes. Thank you for all listening, and have a great life.